So let's do a flyover visit of the Sedibeng tvet College campuses, located on the southern tip of Gauteng, just above the Vaal Dam and running next to the Vaal River. And we're going to get there by flying over the Lesotho highlands with its huge water resources, and then the great escarpment, which used to force the water to flow down to the Indian Ocean. But with the massive demand for water through the industrialization going on up around Joburg with gold and then Kimberley with the diamonds, there was a need to channel water upwards towards Joburg. And we can actually track the line of the rivers like the Wilka River moving the water towards the Vaal Dam. With a surface area of around about 320 kilometers, you can see it there. Now, this actually flooded a huge ancient set of developments. So 1.5 million years ago, there were Stone Age cultures in this fertile valley. We found Acheulean hand axes from 1 million years ago, and there were all sorts of people living here all the way through the Stone Ages, with Khoi herders and Bantu agri-pastoralists arriving around about 2,000 years ago. So a huge history to this area. But what you'll see now, as the Vaal River snakes its way westwards down through the Free State and Kimberley to join the Orange River and go all the way down to the Atlantic Ocean, is a huge black welt in that middle section there. Massive coal reserves, initially known as Viljoens Drift, and initially it was set up to use the Vaal River to send much needed coal and therefore power all the way down to Kimberley. But now you have the Letaba power station built in the 1980s, generating the massive amounts of electricity needed for the urban industrial Gauteng complex. And it's over here, just as you cross the Vaal River from the Free State to Gauteng, with the huge ArcelorMittal Vaal Works, or the old ISCOR, on your left hand side. You can see the sedibeng tvet College with its central office in Vereeniging. This used to be the old Vereeniging Technical College, but it was merged with the Vanderbijl Park Technical College and then Lekoa Technical College, which was in Sedibeng. Now at this campus, you can actually do engineering studies and business studies. You've got the NCV courses, you've got apprenticeships, and you've got learnerships. Got around about 15,000 students overall, and you're sitting with about a ranking in terms of all the colleges of about 33 out of 50. So it's not considered to be one of the best colleges in the country. And this can partly be seen in its website and information. I really struggled to get a lot of information, and hence actually it's the last TVET college of the whole set that I'm actually doing. And as we pull out of Vereeniging, I want to give you first sight of the Vaal Triangle. And what you should be able to see is Vereeniging, Vanderbijl Park, and Sasolburg. And this really forms a major industrial region where you had the old ISCOR, now ArcelorMittal, you had Sasol, this petrochemical processing facilities. There's huge air pollution over here. So it wasn't really known as the Vaal Triangle, it was known as the Vuil Driehoek, or in Afrikaans meaning the dirty triangle, because of the huge problems with pollution and respiratory disease in the area. So in order to really have white people come and work here, they had to create good facilities. And you'll see that Vanderbijl Park is beautifully set out with wide roads, with wonderful traffic circles, hardly any traffic congestion in this area, partly because of its historical privilege. And right here we got the Vanderbijl Park campus. And historically, this was really a boom town with huge expansion of iron ore. So, for example, what happened was they started with oxygen furnaces, and then they had heavy plate manufacture of steel for ships and armored cars. And then eventually they got colored coating and chrome coating. And eventually ISCOR was privatized in 1989. Where one of the world's richest steel merchants, a guy by the name of Mittal, managed to take it over and has since been making a fortune from it. And I'm very resentful about it in some ways. You can see the huge investment in industry, which should have been a part of our South African heritage, not some private rich man's dream. But given what's currently been going on with Eskom, I'm not too unsure that it wasn't a bad thing to hand it over privately, as terrible as something like that is to say. And as with any huge industrial development in South Africa, you're going to see it in apartheid terms. So with Vanderbijl Park on the one side with its beautiful roads, you've got Escor over there, or Natal, and then just on the other side you've got the Sedibeng township with the Sedibeng campus, and right next to it you can see the ArcelorMittal science set up in Sedibeng, and it's equipped with ultra-modern classrooms and laboratories and state-of-the-art computer centers, interactive science centers where the learners can gain hands-on knowledge of science under the guidance of really skilled teachers. Quite a lot of the students, you kind of find out, have been getting excellent results, and they've become engineering students, like around about 100 of them who've attended the science center. And what's happened is they then are sponsored to go to the Vaal University of Technology in Vanderbijl Park. And I did not find equivalent types of projects which sedibeng TVET College was involved in. And to some extent you can understand this by the context that it's located within. So for example, you can see that huge hostel over there. Now, this was the site of massive conflict in the 1990s between the ANC and Inkatha. Huge struggle over who was going to gain dominance of these areas. And as we pull out backwards towards Joburg, you can begin to see what I'm talking about. So firstly, you have got Sedibeng, and there you can see the richer white areas of Vereeniging and Vanderbijl Park and Sasolburg with the huge power station and the ironworks and the coal fields and all that kind of stuff. But you can also see Sharpeville with 69 dead, 180 wounded, protesting against the pass laws. And if we keep on going backwards towards Joburg, you can see it's just one huge township strip all the way from Joburg to the Vaal Triangle. You've got Everton, you've got the Orange Farm, then you're moving up all the way towards Soweto. And it's there that you can see the cross-cutting gold fields, and then behind that the beautiful green, largest unnaturally forested area in the world, the northern suburbs. But the townships don't stop there, they just keep going. With Tembisa more in the middle, and then moving towards Atteridgeville, and then we got Pretoria, and as you jump over the Magaliesberg, you can see Garankuwa, you can see Shoshanguve, and you can see the whole huge northern sets of townships beyond Pretoria, stretching all the way across from there down to the Vaal Triangle. And it doesn't stop on the eastern side. So as we kind of scoot down the eastern side to get back to Heidelberg, you'll see places like Mamelodi, and then you've got Daveyton near Benoni, and the old Etwatwa stretching eastwards. And if we keep on going to that kind of central Benoni, Boksburg Springs area where there's also huge coal mining going on, well, there you're going to see Kwatema. You're going to see Tsakane, and the whole township zone is just going to keep on going on the eastern side, with Katlehong and Vosloorus and Tekoza more in that middle zone around Alberton. And let's not forget, as we're doing this, that continuously there's also the coloured townships and the Indian townships creating this very South African landscape. And it's this kind of world which the sedibeng TVET College sits within. And as we fly into Heidelberg, you can get a snippet of this old apartheid landscape where you can see Rotunda framing the backdrop and flying into Heidelberg with its military bases and also its TVET College. Now, this was actually a satellite campus introduced in around 2007, and there are some interesting industries in the area. Not that I've been able to find that this college actually makes use of them. So you do have places like British American Tobacco, which is the 8th largest cigarette factory in the world. Not that we really want that properly. Then, of course, you've got Karan Beef, which is the largest feedlot in the southern hemisphere. And you've also got some big construction companies like Van Driel's steel construction. So there is quite a lot of interesting industries in this area. So then let's do a final pull out to get a sense of how Sedibeng TVET College is located. And we're going to pull out southward. And you're going to see initially we're moving over Mpumalanga, and it's suddenly going to get greener. It's more agricultural. Mpumalanga has some of the hugest wetlands in the country. And you can begin to see how Sedibeng is framed by Mpumalanga pushing off on your eastern side, and then below you've got the Free State, and then on the western side you've actually got Northwest, with Sedibeng really the southernmost point of the Gauteng industrial complex.